shirt on
Fake news is a problem we all see now. It pops up on our phones. It fills our social media feeds. It can make conversations with friends and family feel difficult. But this challenge, which feels so modern and so urgent, is not new at all. People have been creating and sharing false stories for a very long time, using whatever tools they had. Long before the internet, there were printing presses. Long before social media, there were radio broadcasts. Long before social media, there were newspapers. Each new technology offered a new way for lies to travel. Today, our digital tools allow them to move faster and farther than ever before in human history. The phrase fake news has a long and complicated history. It first became widely used in the late 1890s. Newspapers then engaged in a fierce battle for readers. They used loud, sensational headlines and dramatic, often exaggerated stories, all to sell more papers. This practice became known as yellow journalism. These papers were not always lying outright, but they frequently mixed a few facts with many false claims, creating a version of reality designed to provoke strong emotions like fear, anger, and excitement, all in the service of boosting sales and influence. The core idea is simple. Information can be weaponized. It can be used to make money, to gain political power, or just to cause chaos for entertainment. Today the term is common, but its meaning is blurry. Some people use it to dismiss any news they disagree with, even if it's true. That makes it harder to talk about intentionally deceptive content. That's why it's important to look back at the history of this phenomenon. Understanding where it came from helps us see the forms it takes today. This journey shows a repeating pattern. A new communication tool is invented. People discover how to spread information widely. Then some realize they can spread false information for their own benefit. From the penny press of the 19th century to the global reach of today's social platforms, technology changed. Human motivations stayed surprisingly consistent. Understanding this history is the first step to being a more discerning, responsible consumer of information today. Long before we worried about viral posts, a New York newspaper captivated the world with a spectacular lie. In 1835, The Sun published a series of 6 articles claiming a famous astronomer had discovered life on the moon using a powerful new telescope. The stories were incredibly detailed, describing winged human-like creatures, bison, and strange triangular temples on the lunar surface. It was a fantastic tale, and people were enthralled. The series, which came to be known as the Great Moon Hoax, was a massive success for the newspaper. Its circulation soared, making it one of the most widely read papers of its day. The story was, of course, entirely fictional. The paper later admitted, in a roundabout way, that it had been satire, meant to entertain and poke fun at serious scientific speculation. Many readers were amused, while others felt duped. But the incident revealed something powerful. People wanted to believe in something amazing, and a well-told story, presented as fact, could capture the public imagination. It wasn't to cause political harm, but it showed how easily a media outlet could manipulate belief for gain to sell more newspapers. By the 1890s, 2 newspaper titans, William Randolph Hearst and Joseph Pulitzer, were locked in a fierce circulation war. Their papers, the New York Journal and the New York World, resorted to what became known as yellow journalism. They used giant, screaming headlines, dramatic and often misleading images, and stories emphasizing crime, scandal, and tragedy. Often based on a kernel of truth, heavily embellished with unverified claims and emotional language to maximize impact. This style had consequences beyond sales. Many historians point to yellow journalism pushing the U.S. toward the Spanish-American War in 1898. The sinking of the Maine was sensationally blamed on Spain. Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain, creating public pressure that helped lead to war. As the world moved into the 20th century, the manipulation of information took on a more organized and sinister form. Governments realized the power of propaganda. information, often biased or misleading, used to promote a political cause. During World War I, all sides created posters, films, and articles to boost morale, encourage enlistment, and demonize the enemy. Stories of enemy atrocities were widely circulated, many exaggerated or fabricated, to stoke hatred and fear. This was state-sponsored disinformation to mobilize entire populations for total war. The use of propaganda peaked with totalitarian regimes in the 1930s and 1940s. In Nazi Germany, propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels perfected the art of the big lie. Make a colossal lie, repeat it incessantly, and it will be believed. They used every medium, radio, films, newspapers, rallies, to saturate society with ideology. They blamed Jewish people and other minorities and built a cult of personality around Adolf Hitler. This relentless campaign of deception had devastating consequences. It created a climate that made the Holocaust possible, showing the ultimate danger of state-controlled information with malevolent ideology. The propaganda machine systematically dehumanized its victims, making it easier for ordinary people to become complicit. This is a permanent reminder of why a free press and multiple independent sources are essential for a healthy society. The big lie demonstrated that disinformation could not just start a war, but also fuel a genocide. For much of the 20th century, reaching a mass audience required presses, stations, or networks. In the 1990s, the internet changed everything. Suddenly, publishing power wasn't limited to gatekeepers. Anyone with a modem could create a site, post on forums, or mass email. False stories spread via email forwards and simple sites made to look like news. By the 2000s, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube made virality effortless. One click. The digital ecosystem incentivized fake news. Some creators chased ad revenue with shocking false headlines. In the 2016 US election, a group of teenagers in Macedonia created hundreds of fake pro-Trump sites for money. Their stories generated huge clicks and shares. They earned thousands of dollars, financially, not politically motivated. Meanwhile, others used misleading stories and manipulated content to attack opponents, rally supporters, and push agendas. Foreign governments created fake accounts to spread divisive false stories, amplify tensions, and attempt to influence elections. The internet didn't invent fake news, but it created fertile ground for it to grow faster, wider, and more damaging. As the online problem grew more complex, experts realized the term fake news was too simple and often too political. Researchers began using a more precise framework: information disorder. It separates bad information into three categories: misinformation, false, no harm intended; disinformation, false, harm intended; malinformation, true, harm intended. Understanding motive helps us respond effectively. Misinformation: a person shares a supposed medical cure to help family. They believe it's true. They're victims of deception, not perpetrators. Disinformation: knowingly false content created to cause harm, political, financial, social, or personal. For example, a fake campaign site smearing an opponent, or a foreign bot network pushing conspiracy theories. Malinformation: genuine information used as a weapon, leaking private emails or publishing personal details to shame or endanger someone. Common tactics: imposter content mimicking real outlets, manipulated content like deepfakes, and fabricated content, 100% false, designed to deceive and harm. We share what sparks strong emotions: anger, fear, excitement, often before reading fully. Confirmation bias and algorithmic filter bubbles reinforce our views, creating echo chambers. We also share to signal group identity, to belong, which can outweigh accuracy. Overload makes scrutiny hard. Links from friends feel trustworthy, but anyone can be fooled, and bad actors exploit that. The good news: we're not helpless. The single most important thing you can do is slow down. Resist the urge to share immediately. Take a breath and run a quick checklist. Investigate the source. Check the About page. Look for subtle misspellings that imitate trusted sites. Headlines are sensational. Read the full article. Sometimes it contradicts the headline. Check citations and links. Can you trace claims to original reports, studies, or official documents? Be wary of vague experts say with no sources. Verify the publication date to avoid outdated stories resurfacing. If it seems too wild, it might be satire. Still unsure? Use the experts. Snopes, PolitiFact, and Associated Press Fact Check investigate viral claims. With practice, these checks become quick habits that strengthen your defense and our shared information space. The challenge can feel overwhelming, but there's real reason for hope. We've adapted before. Yellow journalism led to stronger standards. Around the world, educators, librarians, journalists, researchers, and ordinary citizens are building resilience. Schools and libraries teach media literacy, identify content types, check sources, understand bias. Pre-bunking inoculates people by revealing tactics before exposure. Platforms now label state-controlled media, flag false posts, and add friction prompts. Meaningful change starts with us. Pause before sharing, read with curiosity, talk calmly.